Hi there, I'm Brian Waller, President of the Technology Association of Iowa, and welcome to TechBrew AM, presented by Nutanix. TechBrew AM is a program put on by the Technology Association of Iowa, where we talk to an Iowa technology executive, hear about their role, but also their journey to get in that current role as an Iowa tech exec. As I mentioned, Nutanix is a proud supporter of this program, and I have with me Mike Reiter, who is the Enterprise Account Manager with Nutanix. Mike, what does Nutanix do, and what is your role there?
Brian, so I'm an enterprise account manager. I cover a select 20 accounts throughout the state. And Nutanix is a hyper-converged software company. We're the leading provider of the hyper-converged software, according to Gartner and Forrester. Nutanix takes the public experience of simplicity, flexibility, and ease of use on a fractional consumption model and applies it to the environment wherever you want your data to reside. Nutanix offers a complete solution, save you both time and money by applying automation and orchestration in your data center. We help customers basically simplify and modernize their data centers. Additionally, Brian, if I could share with everybody today, is that Nutanix holds regular education events for customers and prospects. And you can see a list of our events if you go to event.nutanix.com/Nutanix Midwest Events. We have an event coming up February 17th from 2 to 3 p.m. Eastern time. It's called the Countdown to Innovation. It's featuring Garrett Reisman, who was aboard the Space Shuttle Endeavour in Atlantis.
Awesome. Well, I know you're excited, just as I am, to talk to the Senior Vice President, Chief Information Officer at Principal Financial, Kaye. So to get this interview started, will you please do a formal introduction of our special guest today?
Yes. Kaye is the Senior Vice President and Chief Information Officer at Principal Financial Group. She's responsible for overseeing the company's global technology and digital strategies, its IT and digital operations, and innovation that supports current and future business needs. Kaye joined Principal in May of 2020 and brings nearly 25 years of cross-industry experience in IT leadership. She was most recently led the information technology business at Pacific Gas and Electric Company, PG&E, including the company's mission-critical systems and the development of the company's technology strategy, infrastructure, and architecture. She also held leadership positions with General Motors, Comerica, and SunTrust. Kaye currently serves as the co-chair of the Iowa Governor Computer Science Work Group and the TAI Board of Directors. She earned a master's degree in engineering science from Rensselaer Polytechnic Institute and a bachelor's degree in computer science from Wayne State University. Please help me welcome Senior Vice President and Chief Information Officer, Principal Financial Group, Kaye to TechBrew AM.
So Kaye, welcome to TechBrew.
Thank you. Good morning. How are you?
Wonderful. So we start with the first and last question the same every time. So I'll start the same, the way I always do. What is your hometown and high school?
I grew up in the city of Detroit, and my high school is Osborne High School.
So Mike just shared your kind of career path to be the Chief Information Officer at Principal Financial, and I want to dig into that role. But can you kind of talk in your own words about your journey to get to this role here at CIO of Principal?
Oh my. So I started, I grew up in Detroit, as I said, and growing up in Detroit, you tried to get jobs with the automotive. And so coming out of college, I worked for General Motors for a good part of my career. I started as a developer in their research labs. And so I was able early on to do some really cool things, pretty much all invention. At that time, I was really interested, even as long ago as it was, in artificial intelligence. And so I focused on learning systems, worked with GPS technology before it was really out there in prime time. And then I moved on to the business side, wanted to be more applied. So I worked for Chevrolet for a few years, and I was running sales, reporting, and did some forecasting. And then I moved back on the IT side. And throughout my career at General Motors, I ran different areas. During the .com, I had all the .com systems, customer-facing systems, dealer systems, did some things that distribution in the plants. Then ultimately, I ended my career at General Motors by going to OnStar and worked there for about 3 years while OnStar was growing. And then just for a bigger opportunity, I went to Comerica Bank. And then as Mike mentioned, I went on to SunTrust for a larger role as a CTO, and then ultimately out to California to Pacific Gas and Electric. It would have asked me, coming out of sort of the city of Detroit and what I had thought I would do to where I am now, it is a road I never contemplated, but I'm really grateful for the experiences that I had.
That's awesome. I want to pull on, if I could, you were at GM for around 8 years, but in 2003, if I'm reading correctly, you worked on OnStar. What stage of that technology was that at? Because I remember when OnStar came on, it was like life-changing in some ways.
Yeah, so I joined OnStar right when it was sort of past a startup and it was going to grow. So there was this forecast of, I think at the time I joined, maybe there were like 1 million customers and we were going to go to 5 million in a couple of years. So we're going from startup to having to harden the, all of the services to get scale while at the same time saving people's lives. But also because it was new and leading and innovative, constantly having to think of new invention, right? And new services that could be provided to sort of stay in the lead. So it was a really exciting time. I'm really proud of some of the things, a lot of the services that you see in OnStar now, I was a part of back then.
So Detroit, Atlanta, San Francisco, Des Moines. What do you think of Des Moines and your short time being here?
It's funny. I love Des Moines, and growing up in Detroit, you would think I knew Des Moines. I had never been here until I started my interviews with Principal. And I will say the way I explain Des Moines is it's a hidden gem of the Midwest, I think. And it's a city that's large enough to have all the large city amenities, but small enough where you don't have to deal with traffic.
So for those listening and watching right now, can you describe what Principal Financial does, and then why this role was so attractive that you would move from San Francisco, I believe, to Des Moines, Iowa to start a new career path in some ways with a great company here in Des Moines, Iowa?
So Principal provides solutions for retirement, insurance, asset management to serve our customers. We've been around for 141 years. I will say the attraction was this recognition that as successful as Principal has been, there's recognition that we could continue to serve our customers better. And so thinking about ways to move the company and pivot such that, especially in the digital world, that we could really give our customers newer experiences that they expect now in the digital age, and recognizing that as a company, we can continually evolve. And I think that's really great. It's part of the culture of Principal of being humble, really being customer service oriented. And it's something that aligns to my core values. And so I'm just excited. And you kind of talk about Des Moines if it's a bad thing to come after San Francisco. I'm actually very happy to be back in the Midwest. I love the people in the Midwest and the culture in general. And so I didn't view it as sort of taking a step down, if you will.
That's awesome. And we're so happy to have you part of the Iowa tech industry. So what is the CIO of Principal responsible for?
Yeah, Mike talked a little bit about it, but if you think about almost every way that we serve our customers involves technology. And so I have to make sure that all of the technology is running, of course, but then also as we're moving to more digital solutions and serving differently, there's a whole investment strategy that aligns to creating, a digital experience that's been different. And so making sure that all these investments are getting delivered, that we're investing in the right things to move our strategy, while at the same time keeping things running, divesting of things that aren't any longer needed, keeping things simplified, and continuing to modernize. Also, security is front and center as well. And so that's another thing that I'm responsible for.
Well, Principal employs thousands of information technology professionals in the state of Iowa. And so word gets around that you do a Friday morning coffee with Kaye for anyone who wants to join. Can you talk about what that is and how'd you come up with it and why do you do it?
Sure. So, I'll start with what it is. It is literally just an open hour where I join a Teams chat. And, Teams is limited to, I think, a little over 300 people. We push the limit every week. And as you said, anybody can join. And we talk about, I kind of give a quick overview of some of the things that occurred over the past week, as well as just open it up for discussion. And this started because I onboarded in a pandemic. I'm the type of leader who, when I have free time, I like to walk around and get to know people. And you can't really do that right now when everybody's remote. And so this just started as an experiment of where I said, I'm going to just try it one week and see what happens. And I'll tell you, it's one of my favorite meetings every week. It was also a way to make space for people to talk about a lot of these things that are going on in their lives and dealing with the pandemic, balancing work and family life. And then a lot of the external, sort of difficult conversations to have about what's going on in the world, just making the space for people to have that kind of conversation as well and provide support to each other. And then for me, it's a way to connect, like I said, to a lot broader group of people that I don't have any other way of connecting with right now.
So people working virtually now, at some point we're going to come back to the office. Do you see that being a challenge for some individuals? And how do we kind of transition in some ways back to new normal at some point?
So I think we're all trying to figure that out, right? And one of the things that I love about Principal is we listen to our teammates often. And so one of the things we're seeing, and it seems to be aligned with what other companies are hearing from their employees as well, is some people want to come into the office 100% of the time. Others want to remain remote 100% of the time. And then a good portion of them are saying, I want a little flexibility. I want to be able to come in some days and maybe work remotely. And so we're looking at that. Obviously, serving our customers is front and center, but being able to provide our employees with flexibility while providing the great service that we always provide, I think is really important. And so we are, just like I said, staying front and center on it. And I think we're going to just work through it as time goes on and we see how people really want to have their new business as usual.
What's something you've learned this week?
So I was having a hard time sleeping last night, and I just got this new book yesterday called Ethics in Artificial Intelligence and started reading that. And if you think about a lot of the things that are going on right now based on algorithms and how machines are learning, I think it's really important that we consider the ethical implications. And so I started reading that last night.
So what would someone say about you that reports to you?
I think they would say that I am a leader who supports them. I believe my job is to make all of our teammates as successful as they possibly can be. And so removing blockers for them, developing a cohesive team that we all work together and support each other, that I'm collaborative, that they get the support from me that they need are things I think they would say about me.
What were you passionate about as a kid growing up in Detroit?
Oh my, I was quite the reader. I was not strong at sports. I was probably what you would consider a nerd, so I liked math. I was in the math club, which my kids joke about regularly. And that's what I did. I read and studied.
Awesome. Give advice to 18-year-old Kathy as she's leaving Detroit off to college.
My advice is use your voice, love yourself, be confident in your convictions, and don't be afraid to give your sort of your thoughts.
As you embark here at Principal, but you look back at your career so far, is there an accomplishment, a technology solution, some project you worked on that you're really proud of?
Yeah, we talked a little bit about OnStar. I think this element of innovating, inventing, as well as helping save people's lives, because so many of those safety features that we invented really did. And I mean, we would hear directly from customers on how they believe either their loved one or they directly were, prevented a death or a fatality because of that. I think is truly gratifying. But I will say, throughout my career, it is really important for me to be able to be a part of developing and implementing technology that serves our customers, right, and provides a better environment. And so I've had the luxury of having a lot of those, but I would say that was probably the most impactful early in my career, of really being able to understand the true impact that technology can have directly on people's lives.
So we're going to change gears here. You have a busy day, so we're going to do some lightning round questions, and we'll get you along for a wonderful day. All right, Kathy, a song plays every time you walk into a room. What is that song?
Okay, I know you just want one song. I have two. It depends on my state of mind. The first one would be It's a Beautiful Day by U2, and the second one would be Lose Yourself by Eminem.
Ooh. I think we just...
You can't take Detroit out of the girls.
Yeah, I think we just became best friends. All right, Seinfeld or Friends?
Seinfeld.
What's your favorite curse word?
In all truthfulness, it's the F word. You can't grow up in automotive and not appreciate the value of saying the F word.
That's great. People are binge watching a lot of stuff. Is there something over the pandemic that you've binge watched?
Recently, Bridgerton.
If you could have dinner with anyone, alive or deceased, who would that be and why?
Oh, wow. So the first person that comes to mind is Maya Angelou. I love her. I love her writing. I loved her style, and I would love to have been able to meet her.
What's your favorite word?
Yes. Or let's try it. I know that's more than one word.
Least favorite word? Comedy club or dance club?
Dance club for sure.
What sound or noise do you love?
The sound of water or the ocean.
What sound or noise do you dislike?
Traffic.
All right, on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being the weirdest, how weird are you?
So I think I'm a 1, but my kids would say I'm a 10.
All right. Room, desk, or car, which one do you clean first?
Room.
What are you not very good at?
I'm not very good at golfing at all.
All right.
So I don't do it.
So last question we ask, and before I do that, thank you so much for giving us your time today and being part of the Iowa technology industry. I know you serve on our board. I know you serve in a leadership capacity for the Governor's Computer Science Work Group, and we appreciate your leadership, especially during this unique time. So my final question, Kathy Kaye, if heaven exists, what would you like to hear God say at the pearly gates?
Welcome aboard.
Well, when it comes to the Iowa tech industry, Kathy, welcome aboard. Have a wonderful day.
Thank you. You too. Have a good one.
At TechBrew, innovation is in our DNA. And what we love about the relationship we have with Nutanix is that innovation is also in their DNA. And when you bring those two things together, great things happen.
Trek is really technology driven. Bikes are absolutely as technologically advanced as possible, and all of that is really driven under the hood. It's all being powered by Nutanix.
Once we dipped our toe into the hyper-converged infrastructure platform, we decided, hey, this could be a great platform for our dynamic enterprise workloads in our data center. And so then we actually converted our entire data center to the hyper-converged infrastructure platform on Nutanix. And so now we run all of our dynamic workloads across it.
The amount of time that I spend on any given day to maintain this infrastructure has now been cut almost to nothing.
One of the biggest differences we've seen with Nutanix Enterprise Cloud is the ability to improve our work-life balance and make Wharton a more attractive place to work.
The benefit of being hardware agnostic is that No matter which vendor I choose or which vendor gives me the best price in that moment, the software on top of it is always the same, so my procedures, my process of implementing doesn't change.